night at 7:30.
Our sermons are loaded with the keys of the kingdom. If you don't have the keys, you'll be stranded.
Visit Holy Hill Chapel, tn.org to hear our podcast.
Our congregation is made up of a variety of nationalities. People from Africa, people from the Caribbean. We have people from Asia, Europe. Here in America, we have people who grew up in Murfreesboro, people who grew up in Chicago. When we had our international service this year, we had 24 nationalities. Everyday life, never take it for granted. You wake up, you get food to eat. You know, somebody doesn't have it. Don't take it for granted. You can learn more about us by visiting our website, holyhillchapeltn.org.
It's where bold talk meets big laughs. The Rick Burgess Show, weekdays from 11 to 2.
The Rick Burgess Show, weekdays 11 to 2 on News Radio WGNS.
Lots of events in the community are coming up. We'll check them now at 4:55.
This is Good Neighbor Events with Bart Walker. Brought to you by AmeriCare Pest Control and the law offices of John Day.
I've got pets.
AmeriCare Services Incorporated, family owned and operated. For residential and commercial customers, we offer a full range of services. Our services include one-time, monthly, and quarterly pest control, termite control, moisture and fungus control, automatic foundation vents, and more. Licensed, insured, and bonded for your protection. 893-7111.
Call the best of the best to get rid of your pets.
AmeriCare Services Incorporated.
Now, Good Neighbor Events. Here's Bart Walker.
This Saturday morning from 10 to 11, it's the Pixel Miners over at the Wilderness Station in Barfield Crescent Park. Are you a pro at mining rocks and crafting in popular video games? Put your knowledge to the test and see how accurate the game is compared to our real-world rocks. There is a $5 fee. This Saturday from 10 to 11 at the Wilderness Station in Murfreesboro's Barfield Crescent Park. Circle Monday, March 30th on your calendar. That's not this week, but next week. And Monday, March 30th is the National Walk in the Park Day. Monday, March 30th. Did you realize that yoga improves your flexibility and balance? It supports joint health, enhances your cardiovascular health, and reduces inflammation. Murfreesboro Parks and Recreation Department offers yoga classes at Sportscom, the Patterson Community Center, and the St. Clair Senior Center. For information about the yoga classes, phone Murfreesboro Parks and Recreation Department. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor Events.
When illness or injury turns everyday moments into uphill battles, there are medical professionals who step in with skill, compassion, and unwavering dedication. My name is Joey P. I'm CEO of Murfreesboro Medical Clinic, and we are proud to highlight this month's MMC Heart for Healing recipient.
We recognize Dr. Sean Horwitz, a surgeon at MMC, whose reputation is built on as much his heart as it is his hands. Dr. Horwitz makes every patient feel like his priority. Whether performing complex robotic surgery or providing life-changing breast care, he combines elite technical precision with a rare, compassionate touch that truly defines him. Dr. Sean Horwitz, our MMC Heart for Healing.
If a doctor, nurse, or medical professional has made a difference in your life, tell WGNS. Help us recognize the medical heroes in our community by nominating them for the MMC Heart for Healing Award, and help us recognize the medical heroes in our community.
Market declines, unemployment, oil prices. Don't let headlines derail your long-term financial strategy. I'm Edward Jones Financial Advisor Lee Colvin. I'll work with you to help you understand the impact of short-term events and how to be positioned for the long term. We provide the tools for a disciplined approach to investing. Call 615-907-7056 for an opportunity to discuss your situation. Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing, member SIPC.
This is Betsy Maples with Maples Realty and Auction. Auctions are such a fun and easy way to buy real estate. We've got lots coming up. Don't miss out on this one.
Live auction Saturday, March 28th at 10 a.m. in Smyrna, featuring a 3-bedroom home on a corner lot and a 2-car garage. Explore the fenced backyard, in-ground pool, and mini barn. This is a true handyman special with incredible potential for the right buyer. Find out more at maplesrealtyandauction.com.
Maples Realty and Auction.
Sold to Maples Realty and Auction.
It's All That's News with Matt Lane on News Radio WGNS.
Before we wrap up today's show, let's check world news from CBS.
Portions of our programming have been pre-recorded. The Good Neighbor Network, WGNS Murfreesboro, W270AF Murfreesboro, W263AI Murfreesboro, Smyrna.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. In a landmark trial, a jury finds that Meta and Google are liable for creating products that led to harmful and addictive behavior by young users. The Los Angeles jury has awarded attorney Mark Lanier's client a total of $6 million in compensatory and punitive damages.
They found that Meta's failure to operate their platform in a reasonably prudent fashion and to warn in a reasonably prudent fashion was a direct cause, substantial contributing factor to harming Kaylee.
CBS's Gwen Baumgardner.
During key testimony, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg faced questioning about internal emails showing the company knew children younger than 13 used its apps and that they prioritized keeping people engaged to increase profits.
Meta and Google are appealing. A deal to end the partial government shutdown and fund DHS looks uncertain after Democrats shrug off the latest Republican proposal. CBS's Natalie Brand.
Airports are seeing their highest wait times in TSA history as the partial shutdown hits day 40.
We are really putting ourselves and our workforce in a perilous situation.
The acting TSA administrator testified Wednesday about the growing impacts and human toll on officers.
U.S. Southern Command says on social media that Joint Task Force Southern Spear conducted a kinetic strike on a vessel in the Caribbean today, operated by designated terrorist organizations. 4 people were killed. The White House says negotiations to continue with Iran in an effort to end the war, but Iran says not so.
Iran's foreign minister says, quote, "We do not plan on any negotiations." White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says that's a bad decision.
Any violence beyond this point will be because the Iranian regime refused to understand they have already been defeated and refused to come to a deal.
At the same time, Secretary Leavitt says talks continue, but she won't say with whom.
We're not going to get into the details of these negotiations and conversations that continue to take place.
Saying they are very sensitive and diplomatic discussions. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
The Justice Department has reached a settlement with former Trump national security official Michael Flynn after he sued the DOJ, alleging that he was wrongly prosecuted during the first Trump administration. Dennis Coyle, an American citizen held hostage by the Taliban in Afghanistan for more than a year, is now home with family after landing in San Antonio today. Coyle's sister Molly Long.
We have special thanks for President Trump and his strength and tenacity to bring Dennis as the 105th hostage home under his tutelage. We appreciate that.
The Taliban never publicly stated what laws Coyle was accused of violating. This is CBS News.
What is going on?
What's going on here? How is this possible? Great storytelling starts here.
Oh, come on.
Why? It's time for 60 Minutes.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Good afternoon. Moving a wreck right now, 40 westbound here at 24 near the Sullivan Evans Bridge, slowing down that traffic now in both directions on 40 east and west. Over here up by Fessler's. Watch for radar. I-40 out through the Mount Juliet area. Quite a bit of it out there earlier throughout parts of Wilson County. Hey, Prince's Hot Chicken has the city's original hot chicken recipe. Been around since 1945. Go online and order at princeshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Local farmers, local meats, vegetables, and other produce at the Winter Spring Rutherford County Farmers Market.
Every Friday at Lane Agri Park.
Rutherford weather.
Lows level off around 59 tonight under mainly clear skies. Lots of sunshine again tomorrow, highs around 86. I'm WGNS meteorologist Eric Height. Right now, it's 73 degrees.
We do it your way at Sir Pizza.
Order a royal feast or create your own pizza online now at sirpizzatn.com. Carry out and delivery for dinner tonight at sirpizzatn.com.
We're the Good Neighbor Network. FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro. FM 100.5 Smyrna. Audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com.
From the first pitch to the final buzzer, this is where the conversation starts. All sports talk on WGNS and Big G TV, covering the Preps, MTSU, news from Tennessee and nationwide. Now, here's All Sports Talk on the Good Neighbor Network.
Welcome back to All Sports Talk on a Wednesday night. Dylan Simmons with you for this March 25th edition of everyone's favorite show. Okay, maybe not everybody's favorite show, but it's a good show nonetheless. Proud to be with Jacob Burgess tonight of MTSU Sidelines, sports co-editor for Sidelines. He's a man of many talents, also the MTN sports director. We've had him on the show a couple of times now. Jacob, how's it going tonight?
It's going really good. In the waning half of basketball, got MTSU tennis really kicking up with the conference tournament coming soon.
Yeah,
still staying busy.
I was about to say, tennis tournament's going to be coming in what, 2 or 3 weeks now?
It's mid-April, the 16th through the 19th, depending on men's and women's. Yeah.
Yes, and that'll be on ESPN Plus as well. So make sure you tune in when that day comes. How's the semester going for you right now?
Hey man, we've been busy. Still staying busy. Basketball has had some big news. I know we're going to talk about it in the show. And so still got that going on. Been doing a whole lot of editing lately. We've put up, I want to say 5 stories in the past day and a half when it comes to basketball. So I'll make sure to throw those in, some aspects of them when we get to those topics.
Yes, he's in full force right now, and he's also everybody's favorite official for the MTSU Rec Center, and he's got some intramural basketball to officiate tonight. Is it the championship games?
Yeah, we do have our championship games tonight. I'm reffing the men's championship, and I might have to hop into the fraternity one, too.
Okay, so go heckle Jacob over at the Rec Center if you want to watch some intramural basketball tonight. Let's get down to brass tacks, Mr. Burgess, because there was a big announcement that took place this past week in the world of MTSU women's basketball. The legend Rick Insell officially has announced his retirement. It's been something that I think we knew was going to happen eventually, but it's still surreal to see it come to pass. From what you have learned following this team the past couple years, is this something you thought could be a possibility this year, or did this kind of come out of left field? What's your gauge on that?
No, it was definitely a possibility. I mean, Rick's 75 years old. He's been around the game, officially coaching at Shelbyville and MTSU for a combined 49 years, and then he coached some junior high.
Yes.
When he was really young. And so he's been around it for 50 plus years. He's getting to that point to where, retirement was on the mind. It was a possibility when MTSU Sidelines former sports editor Calvin White was still in. He graduated 2 years ago now.
2024,
yeah. So it's been 2 years since he graduated, and it was a possibility back when he was still around. Mm-hmm. And so I think it was just finally time. Rick accomplished win 500 against Liberty at home this year.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of the final big point to where he was like, okay, had that accomplishment, had plenty of other ones, and so he was ready to move on to the next aspect of life.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about his resume, he has a lot of different nuggets on it, and of course that 500th win certainly didn't hurt anything, so I can definitely understand it from that perspective. Now, this may or may not be something that you have insight on, but what was the reasoning, as far as you could tell, from Coach Insell to have retirement come right now? Why was now the time for him to do this?
He talked about it a few times, mentioning his health. He said before that he's not in the best of health. No major concerns, but he's mid-70s. He has 13 grandkids, ranging from the youngest being 4 to 22.
Yes.
And he's had to put some things on the back burner because of his coaching career at MTSU. And so it seems like he's wanting to get the health lined up to where he can be around for, you know, those milestones with the grandkids.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, family always comes first. And when you've put in as much time and have as much mileage coaching women's basketball as Rick Insell does, it's going to take up a significant amount of your time. But one thing that he's always been steadfast on is keeping his family taken care of. Obviously, he's done that with Matt being part of his coaching staff, and you see his grandkids every once in a while at the games. So
Evie and Clark are prominent figures when it comes to MTSU basketball.
Yes.
They're Matt Insell's 2 kids. I think Clark's about 7, 8 years old, and then Evie's the youngest grandchild, and so they both have their own chairs on the bench at MTSU games. At Matt's introductory press conference, they had their own chairs too. And so they are well known around the program.
Well, Evie's a local celebrity because you may remember this too. Back in 2024 when they made
ESPN.
the NCAA, she was on ESPN. I think she was on ABC.
She was.
Yes, because
she stretches with the team all the time. Matt, I know we're going to get to Matt in a second.
Yeah.
But he mentioned in the press conference, he had a moment where he just spoke to Evie, and it was like, the girls they keep giving you candy even when I tell them not to. You still get to stretch with the team. Nothing's going to change. And so they are well known.
Yes, they are very well known. And hey, who knows? Maybe there'll be some great basketball coaches in their own right down the line. We'll see. Just looking at this from the perspective of Coach Insell's career, a star-studded career, what kind of legacy, regardless of what happens the rest of the way this season, what kind of legacy has he left in your mind in his illustrious career at MTSU?
He is Middle Tennessee basketball.
Yeah.
Wherever he goes, he is known. So me, Brett Walker, Ethan Rodenbach, 2 more sidelines members. After the press conference on Tuesday, we went to the Slick Pig here in Murfreesboro for
lunch. Place to eat.
It is a good place.
Yes.
And in walks Rick Insell.
Oh, wow.
We're wrapping up our lunch. He's just walking in. And he was like, they knew him.
Yeah.
He regularly goes there, it seems like. People who were eating knew him. He shook hands. He did everything that he could while he was there.
Yeah.
And so he is Middle Tennessee basketball when it comes down to it. He's the winningest head coach at MTSU history. I wouldn't be shocked if something gets named after him eventually.
Yeah.
You know, whether that's a gym, whether that's the court
facility itself is what I was thinking. Yeah.
And so, and then you look around locally, he's still a prominent local member down in Shelbyville. He's still prominent.
Yes.
Obviously, you've called games for them before. You know what
my Shelbyville shirt on, as a matter of fact.
That gym is built in his
it's named
legacy.
The Rick Insell Gymnasium. They've got a big mural of him. They've got all the state championship trophies there. Yeah.
And so he still carries a lot of weight in the area, and he'll continue to carry a lot of weight. One of the things he mentioned is like he's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
He's just retiring from coaching. He'll still be there for the athletic department, whether that's, you know, talking to members of the community, whether that's talking to donors, representing the brand. He's still going to be around. He'll still be at basketball games.
Yes.
He might have a different seat.
Mm-hmm.
But he'll still be there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing about Rick Insell, and I mean, this is kind of a no-duh thing to say, but he's very passionate about the game of basketball, and especially the Lady Raiders, so he's still going to be there. He's going to be supporting them, and I'm sure he'll offer any advice he can to Matt as they begin this coaching transition going into next season, so I have no doubt that he'll still have a vested interest in how the Lady Raiders continue to do. But what is it about Coach Insell's style that has lifted MTSU to where they are now, and how has he managed to bring that standard and, more importantly, maintain it for Middle Tennessee for the past 20-plus years?
He keeps it simple. That was one of the things he told me. Like, he hasn't changed much since he started in Shelbyville.
Yeah.
He spent 28 years there. He brought the same offense. He had to update it some to fit the college game. But he keeps it simple. Mm-hmm. There was a point in the season where MTSU has a play they like to run. I won't spoil too much of it. I won't give it away.
Got to keep that under wraps.
But they have a play, and they ran it last year a ton. Mm-hmm. And it was successful because you look at last year's team, they had people there who had been there for 5 years. at times, you know?
Yeah.
They had a lot of consistency when it came to the lineup. And so the players knew that it's a cutting play where it's just constant motion, and eventually you find the open shooter. Right? There was a point this year they ran that play, and he was upset because they stopped moving after 2 or 3 cuts.
Sure.
And he's seen it work a ton. Mm-hmm. He's been using the same play for 40 plus years. But it requires that constant motion to where it might not be until cutter number 6.
Yes.
Where you find that open look. And so he was upset at one point because they weren't running it. And if you're able to keep consistent plays like that successful for so many years, that's how you end up winning games. You keep it simple, because if it works, it works.
That's exactly right, and it doesn't shock me that he didn't change much from Shelbyville because, I mean, like you mentioned, he established a dynasty down there, and with those plays, I mean, it's like you talked about. You always got to have significant cutting motion. You don't want to give up on a play. You want to keep it going, keep trying to confuse the opponent, and I think that Coach Insel understood that just about as well as anybody else, and I'm sure all of that together really helped him to become the coach that he has been for MTSU in recent times. Now, this is a bit more off topic. But how do you think Rick Insel looks at the modern state of college athletics compared to where it was when he started? And how has he handled that over the last few years? Did he mention that at all?
He did. He mentioned that he wasn't the biggest fan of the transfer portal in this day and age. He's not the biggest fan of NIL.
Yeah.
And that's understandable. It adds an extra layer of college athletics that wasn't there for, decades upon decades. And so a drastic change coming to this institution of college athletics as a whole, it's a different game. And, he'd been around for a long time, and it was something that changed really quickly, really fast. And, you see a lot of coaches not happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you want to be successful, you just have to deal with it. You have to find a way to do it. And, he mentioned he wasn't the happiest about it. But it's just something you got to do.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that drastically led to him deciding to retire.
Right.
It was this is just something in the common era that it's different.
Yeah, I mean, it's a modern reality that all college coaches have to face, and it is interesting to me that he started off with college athletics in a much different state than it is now, but the thing about it is he still managed to win despite the changing of eras. That's the biggest thing to understand with any coach in a successful program like that, is that if you know what you're doing, you can win under any sort of circumstances, and that's what Rick Insel and MTSU women's basketball has been able to do. So I thought it was really impressive to see how he handled that over the last few years, because I mean, you talk about 23-24, that's when NIL and transfer portal were really starting to ramp up, and that was the year they made one of their deepest runs of all time, beat Louisville, took it to LSU and Angel Reese. So he proved that, Jacob.
He did, and I think it was something with the transfer portal too. In the past, he was able to bring in really good players, and he didn't tend to lose them.
Right.
He was able to bring in Savannah Wheeler from Marshall for her final 1 or 2 years?
I think final 2 years.
Final 2 years. And so he used it to make a lot of additions, and he never really lost players. Right? Obviously, Tamia Scott left MTSU for Alabama, and part of that was because of the NIL.
Yeah.
And so I think that was one of the first big losses he ever had when it came to the transfer portal, to where obviously any coach would be upset about losing one of their best athletes to the portal because of money. At the end of the day. And so I think that was that's probably, one of the reasons why the transfer portal isn't his favorite thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that can definitely change the outlook of a team, especially in basketball, because it only takes sometimes a couple players to completely change the direction that your team's going to go in a given year. And obviously, Tamia Scott not being on the team anymore may have affected that, but the fact still stands that even with all that, they were able to have a pretty good amount of success this year.
They were able to bring in Elena Contreras from Missouri, Kansas City. She was able to come in. She eventually found her rhythm. It took until about conference play to get to that point.
Yeah.
But they brought her in to shoot the ball. And eventually she did start shooting it. She started out rough, had some games to where, she wasn't scoring the way they needed her to. But you look at the conference numbers, in double digits every night, 31 points. I want to say was the highest.
I think so. Yeah,
against
that sounds
Missouri
right.
State
Against Missouri
for
State.
their final game.
Yes.
Spent most games above 20. Mm-hmm. And so that's another success with the transfer portal, bringing in an athlete who was able to help your team.
Yeah, and I mean, she was a tremendous help for MTSU this season, and we've mentioned it a lot of times, not just on this program, but on other programs, that they were going to face challenges this season no matter what, because they had a lot of young players, a lot of new pieces that were trying to mold themselves and get themselves better, but he was able to take players like Blair Bogus, Macy Pfeiffer, as well as Elena Contreras, and get them, I think, to their superstar potential, and it was just impressive to see that development down the stretch, right?
It was. They were able, with their young players, I mean, they were saying back in November that they're no longer freshmen. They are now sophomores. They're now juniors. They have to play like that because that's who they're going up against. Mm-hmm. And so you look at Baleo being freshman of the year in Conference USA, Macy making one of the all-conference teams along with Elena.
Yep.
I mean, they had to step up, and they did. And I think it was a different team chemistry. Obviously, with everybody being new, they had to learn fast. They had to learn quick.
Right.
It was also a different build of a team, right?
Yes.
Past few years, they've had somebody like Bodareva, who it provides a massive height difference when it comes to conference play that they didn't have this year. And so the style of play changed a little bit.
It did.
But Blair Bogus was still able to control the paint.
Right.
She still won Freshman of the Week over a dozen times.
Yes.
Macy won it. If Blair didn't win it, Macy was
gonna
had
win
a good chance of winning
exactly.
it. There were very few Freshmen of the Weeks outside of MTSU.
Yeah.
And so it was just a different makeup of a team. But they were able to find success with it. Now they're going to see if they can keep all the players, keep building on that in this new era of college athletics, and see what goes from here.
Yep, and they certainly have the capability to do just that. Well, we're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll talk about the new head coach of the MTSU Lady Raiders, Matt Insel, will give our breakdown on his hiring, and Jacob will give some potential insider info on that as well. All that and more coming up soon on All Sports Talk.
Lace up your best kicks for a night of impact benefiting First Shot. Join us for the annual Sneaker Ball presented by Venture Express. Spend Sunday, April 26th with NFL Hall of Famer and Super Bowl MVP Marcus Allen. The event kicks off at 6 with a VIP meet and greet at 5. Reserve your table today. Call Coach Andy Herzer at 615-631-5312. We'll see you at the Sneaker Ball benefiting First Shot on April 26th.
Whether you need general vehicle upkeep and maintenance or a complete vehicle overhaul, Hall's Auto Care is here for you. We're locally owned and operated by Greg Hall and have been in business since 2014. You'll get excellent service and trustworthy advice with Hall's Auto Care. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. We're ready to help get you safely on the road. Hall's Auto Care, 907 Ridgely Road, just off Broad Street behind Chili's. Online at hallsautocare.net. Hall's Auto Care.
Hey folks, it's Chip Walters from Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates, helping Middle Tennessee make smart moves in a fast-moving market. Whether you're buying, selling, or just exploring your options, you deserve someone who knows this community and treats your goals like their own. From first-timers to long-time homeowners, I'm here to guide you with clarity, confidence, and a steady hand. When you're ready to make the next move, start with someone you trust. Visit choosechip.net and let's make your 2026 move the right move.
Keeping your home warm in the winter and cool in the summer all starts with the right insulation. Roscoe Brown & Carrier offer comprehensive insulation services that not only enhance your comfort, but also improve your energy efficiency, saving you money on your utility bills. With expert installation and advice, our team ensures that your home is perfectly insulated for every season. Turn to the experts at Roscoe Brown & Carrier. Your family's comfort is our family's legacy. RoscoeBrown.com.
Hi, I'm Wade Hayes, owner of Toots Good Food and Fun. I strongly believe that volunteers make a positive difference in the quality of life here in our community.
Lynn Clayton is very involved in this community. She is a trustee with Oakland's Mansion and goes out of her way to preserve local history. She is also very involved with the Women's Club of Murfreesboro and Murfreesboro First Presbyterian Church. Thank you, Lynn Clayton, for volunteering your time and talents to make this an even better community. Lynn Clayton is our Toots Outstanding Volunteer.
At Toots, we strongly believe that it's important for every one of our citizens to give some of their time and talent back into the community. And we want to honor these individuals with a Toots gift certificate good at any of our Rutherford County locations. 860 Northwest Broad Street, on Church Street in the Barfield area, in Smyrna on Sam Ridley, and Toots West on Franklin Road at Rucker Lane.
Good afternoon. Slow go traffic here on 65 northbound at Rivergate Parkway as traffic continues to increase down into Brentwood, Franklin on 65, pushing through that southern portion of Williamson County. A little bit of radar down there around Spring Hill a little bit earlier. 24 is loading up eastbound through Antioch towards Murfreesboro. Hey, don't let a slipping transmission make things worse on your car or truck. If you're having transmission problems, just go to Amco Transmissions at 1621 West Main Street in Lebanon. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
It's all sports talk from the Good Neighbor Network, FM 1019, 100.5, AM 1450, wgnsradio.com, and Big G TV.
And welcome back. This is All Sports Talk on a Wednesday night. Dylan Simmons with you live in the WGNS studio as part of the Good Neighbor Network alongside Jacob Burgess. Whether you're enjoying this on the drive home, maybe you're just kicked back in your recliner at the house, whatever the case is, we're glad to have you with us. And Jacob, it seems as though the temperatures may finally beginning to permanently warm up.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
I really hope so. I am not a cold person. I do not like the cold weather. You have seen me. I am in my ski pants if it is below 30 degrees, especially in the morning.
Yes.
We're in that weird stage, though, where, like, it might be 35 when you get in your car.
Yeah, that's...
But it's 75 at 1 p.m. I really don't like.
I don't like that because I have to wear a jacket in the morning, but then I'm like short sleeves in the afternoon.
Well, yeah, for me, I'm getting in the car about 7:20, 7:30 in the morning.
Well, yeah, you have an insane schedule.
Yeah, it's early, and so I've had days where I wear shorts, but I put ski pants on over them.
Ooh.
Because it's 35.
Yep.
That's too cold.
What are you going to do? That is too cold.
That's too cold.
That is much too cold. Well, hopefully summer will arrive soon. Getting back to the topic at hand, Matt Insel, new coach of the MTSU women's basketball team, and going to be carrying on the Insel tradition. Matt will take over starting next year. Now, I heard Sidney McPhee talk about his confidence in Matt Insel and this staff going into next season, and I think that is for good reason. As far as what you know about this hiring, would you say that you had an idea that this was going to happen, and is that what you saw when all this was coming together?
I think everybody around the program knew that this was the future.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt came back 8 years ago, and I think people around the program 8 years ago were probably like, okay, this is going to be the future.
Yes.
Because when you look at his coaching career beforehand, started off at Tennessee while he was in college, video coordinator for coaches like Pat Summit and the men's team. And so around legendary coaching at a young age,
right?
Starting out. And then he goes from there, he comes back to MTSU to finish his degree, Law Tech to be the director of operations, an assistant at Kentucky at a pretty young age.
Yes.
Head coach at Ole Miss at 29. Spends 5 years there, comes back to MTSU, and I think those early years at MTSU on staff were his biggest growing moments. And he talked about them during his introductory press conference the other day.
Sure.
He mentioned it, he's a lot different than he was at 29.
Yeah.
He's now 42.
That's a big shift.
It is, but
yes.
He's a different type of coach. He mentioned that everything at Ole Miss he took personally. And the example he gave, he was like, it didn't matter if the person in the 18th row thought I was the best coach in the country or they wanted me fired. I took it personally.
Yeah.
And so that's, he said, the biggest thing. And he wasn't able to do the best part of his job at Ole Miss. Anybody knows that Matt is a great recruiter.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he can bring in talent like no other.
Tremendous recruiter.
And he had to step away from that at Ole Miss. He had other people go out and recruit. He brought in recruiters to do that.
Right.
But when that's his best, that's one of his strongest strengths is that he can go out and recruit great athletes.
Right.
And he wasn't able to play into that. That ultimately hurt him at Ole Miss.
Yeah, because he wasn't able to get comfortable in the way that he would have wanted to. I thought you made a great point about how he's 42 now. And he had that Ole Miss job when he was 29 years old. There are so many life experiences and valuable moments that we can get from that age to that age. I mean, think about when you were 18 years old and compare it to where you are now. I mean, I'm sure that you're way different, and I'm way different. I mean, I first got into college, which this is going to make me feel old. 5 years ago is when I first got into college, and I'm way different than I was when I first got to MTSU. So it's been a huge shift since then, and I'm sure the same goes for Matt, but he's been able to learn and grow as a result, and I think it's going to help him become a better coach down the line.
Matt did say one of the best parts about Ole Miss is that's where he met his wife.
Yeah.
Hugh Freeze invited him to a football practice at Ole Miss, and he met his wife there. And so he talked about that for a small portion of the press conference, and he really made that seem like the highlight of being at Ole Miss, which, I mean, I got to say, probably is the highlight.
I mean, meeting your wife, that's got to be up there with one of the best experiences. I mean, we haven't experienced that yet, obviously, but somewhere down the line we will, and when it happens, I'm sure it's going to be up there in one of our best moments. Now, one thing that I think is very important to get across is that Matt, like you mentioned, very well prepared for the job. He's been doing coaching for a number of years, but he's also been on the front lines with game action and behind the scenes with recruiting. What are some of the credentials for this job that he has in your mind?
I mean, being around the game as long as he has. Sidelines posted a story this morning about Deb Insel, and part of the interview that Brett Walker, our managing editor, did for that was talking about Matt, obviously, and how Deb's been around. And Deb mentioned that he was a pretty good basketball player back when he was younger. You know, her three sons played every ball but football, she said.
Yes.
No football household, which I understand. I come from a no football household. And so they were good athletes. And so to be around the game as long as he has, to have these experiences, and you see at MTSU the past few years, he started to take some more responsibility year in and year out.
Right.
To where this past season, he was leading timeouts.
Yes.
He was drawing up the plays. He, making the game plans, doing the scouting reports. And so he's been doing a lot of the head coaching stuff without having to do, without having to handle some of the extra stuff. And so he's been able to focus just on the basketball aspect.
Yeah.
And I think you've seen that growth in the past few years to where he's ready to take on everything now.
I would agree, and I noticed that as well because I've been courtside reporter a couple times on ESPN Plus, and I would go in to get some sound bites from the huddle, and you'd see Matt taking the lead, leading the huddle, and talking to the team, drawing up plays like you talked about. And I think that was the biggest sign to me that, all right, if and when Rick retires, this guy, he is going to be absolutely ready to go.
Rick mentioned it in the post game against St. Bonaventure. Third quarter, 11 seconds left. St. Bonnie's calls a timeout. They go into the huddle, and Matt starts drawing up a play. He erases it. He draws a new play. He erases half of that. He finally figured, he draws up the play he wants. It's a play they haven't ran all year.
Mm-hmm.
Rick looks at the girls. He goes, y'all get that? And they go, yeah, we got it. They run the play. They find Savannah Davis. She knocks down a three to end the quarter, exactly the way the play was drawn up.
Man. That kind of shows you that these ladies have trust in Matt Insel, and to go out and execute that and just draw it up off the cuff, I'm sure that's got to be a very satisfying feeling for the new Lady Raiders head coach. Now, this is an obvious question to ask, but how do you think Matt compares and differs from his father in coaching style and his approach to the game?
He just brings a younger feel to it. He has other ideas that they haven't done before. Right? He's going to keep some of the same stuff. He said it in the press conference. Things aren't going to change.
Yeah, I mean, when you're winning as much as they've been, you don't want to take away everything for sure.
I'm sure he's going to refresh some of the looks. He's going to refresh some of the setups. Who knows? We might see that Savannah Davis play drawn up again.
Yeah.
From the other night quite a few times. But the goals are still the same. They're still trying to play in the second to third weekend of March Madness at the end of the day. And wrote a story for Sidelines about it, ended it with a Matt quote. He was talking about how last Sunday he was in the gym alone. Evie and Clark were running around playing, and it kind of set in that he was going to be the next head coach of the Lady Raiders.
Yeah.
And he's looking at the banners, and they don't have that banner yet. They don't have a Sweet 16 banner.
Right.
Right? And at the press conference, same spot as Rick was 21 years ago, and Matt mentions that the goal is still the same. My dad sat here 21 years ago saying we're going to play in the second or third weekend of March Madness. He is trusting me now to do it, to make sure that he's not a liar. To make sure that Rick keeps his word that the Lady Raiders, my apologies, the Lady Raiders will be in the second or third weekend of March Madness.
Whew, that's a heavy statement, but man, I think if anybody can do it, Matt Insel can certainly carry on that and carry on the legacy of what Rick Insel has been able to accomplish. You mentioned a lot of sound bites from that opening press conference. Was there anything else?
Some great ones.
Yeah, absolutely. Was there anything else that stuck out in your mind as far as sound bites or things that Matt Insel said?
I mean, where do I start?
Go for it. We got a few minutes here.
So Matt tells his kids last Thursday at dinner that it's going to happen, that granddad's going to retire and dad's going to become the new head coach.
Yeah.
And so the kids don't really have any questions. Obviously, in a sports family, they play a ton. If you follow Matt on Instagram, that's most of his Instagram is his kids' highlights.
Yes.
So Clark has baseball practice, his son. They get in the car. Clark asks him, Dad, since you're taking granddad's chair, who's going to take yours? And Matt tells him, I don't know yet. I haven't figured that out. That's going to take some time. And he goes, I know somebody who wants it. And Matt goes, yeah, who? And Clark, who's, 6, maybe 7.
Yeah.
He goes, I do. Right?
Wow. Okay.
Little young.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit.
To be, assistant head coach.
I like the enthusiasm.
Oh,
though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe in 20-something years there might be another one.
Yeah, maybe in like 2046. That'd be a perfect time for him. Yeah.
And I mean, analogy after analogy, story after story. He talked about being on the same staff. Brett asked a question about Deb's presence, and he joked that Deb's biggest contribution is the fact that she's kept them from fighting each other.
Yeah.
All these years. And I mean, stories about his siblings, about his family, about coming back to MTSU. That was one of his response to my question was, I asked him if he ever thought he would get back to this point. And he goes on to say that while at Kentucky, while at Ole Miss, that if he ever got the call asking if he would come back and be the head coach of the Lady Raiders, he said without a doubt, right then and there, he'd be the head coach.
He knew always that this was home, it sounds like.
Yeah, that's something he said. He said that I'm not somebody looking for what's next taking this job.
Yeah.
This is what's next.
Yeah, and that's a great security to have if you're MTSU Athletics. And
that's the entire family.
Yeah,
Rick was the same way. I talked to Rick last week on Wednesday before the retirement news came out, and he said the exact same thing. They're not a family that's like chasing the biggest job or the biggest paycheck or anything like that.
Right.
They want to be right here at MTSU coaching for as long as they can.
Yeah, and I think that, if anything, should get you really excited for Matt Insel's tenure as the MTSU women's basketball head coach. Looking ahead to his first year next year, what are some of the things that Matt will have to deal with and manage on the team, and what do you think will be his strategy to approach being a head coach for MTSU for the first time?
I think it's staying true to who he is, right? On the recruiting side of it, he has some really good commitments already.
Yes,
it's
tremendous.
Using the transfer portal now, right?
Right.
He's going to have to find some additional people to come in and help the team. Elena Contreras has said publicly that if she gets another year, right, she's trying to get one,
right,
through the NCAA. If she does, she'll stay, right? So
that would be big for MTSU.
Yeah. And then it's developing the players they have, right? I think you look at some of the players on the team didn't get a lot of minutes that could be really useful. First person's Nicole, I think of, just because of her height. She's listed at 6'10" on the website, right? To have a player like Bordereva to where you have the size, if she can help out offensively and defensively, that can be a really big step, because I think that's one of those things that they missed this year, that they had to change around and figure out. And, size at times was a problem.
Yes, but I think there's a lot to be excited about. If you're a fan of this MTSU women's basketball team, they're going to be special for years to come, and I think Matt Insel is going to steer a good ship moving ahead in the history of this Lady Raiders program. We're going to take one more quick timeout. When we come back, we'll talk about the Lady Raiders run through the WNIT. We've also got the Blue Raider Insider Report. All that coming up next right here on All Sports Talk.
At State Farm, when home and auto work as a team, you score and save money. I'm State Farm agent Andy Wama. Give me a call at 615-890-0850 and let's work together to win big by saving money on home and auto. With the service you get from State Farm, you might think our car insurance costs more. I'm State Farm agent Andy Wama. Give me a call at 615-890-0850 and let me show you with discounts up to 40%. You may find it even costs less.
This is a paid legal ad.
Hi, this is John Day of the Law Offices of John Day. My team and I have worked hard to help injured people throughout Middle Tennessee. We've helped thousands of people get the legal help they need when they've needed it the most. And if we're not able to help or aren't the right lawyer for you, we'll do the best to point you in the right direction. If you've been injured, call the Law Offices of John Day for a free consultation. And remember, there's no fee unless we win your case.
Leaks, clogs, or new installations, Roscoe Brown Plumbing is here to ensure water flows exactly where it needs to go in your home. Since 1940, our team of expert plumbers has provided Middle Tennessee with prompt and reliable service. From emergency repairs to routine maintenance, we're always here, ensuring your home's plumbing system is in tip-top shape. Trust in Roscoe Brown Plumbing for all your plumbing needs, where your family's comfort is our top priority. RoscoeBrown.com.
If someone asked, what's your more? Would you be surprised? Well, at First Bank, knowing your more is where we start. Whether it's seeing your kid's college graduation, seeing the world, or seeing the ocean from your patio, your more helps us see who you are. That's why First Bank offers you more time, more access to local lenders and leaders, more answers, and more products. So tell us, what's your more? First Bank. Bank local. Get more. Member FDIC.
Next on All Sports Talk, it's the Blue Raider Insider Report with Chip Walters of Exit Realty, Bob Lamb & Associates.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Still, the big story around Blue Raider country is the transition in coaching for Middle Tennessee's Lady Raider basketball program. Following the announcement that Hall of Fame coach Rick Insel will retire at the end of the 25-26 season, Middle Tennessee women's basketball has named Matt Insel as the next leader of the program. Insel was at an introductory press conference yesterday, and we carried part of that for you here on this program. Today, we'll take a look back at what the outgoing head coach, Rick Insel, talked about when it comes to his legacy as the Blue Raider head coach.
I think, Chris, I never talk about that. And we don't talk about how many games, legacy, or all that. It was just time. I need to concentrate on my health right now. I need to concentrate on my grandbabies. I've got 13. I've got 2 here today. Maybe I think that's all I've got here. I have to look around, but I've been having to put their games on the back burner, and because I put our basketball team where they need to be. But now it's time for me to. I'm 75 years old, and I want to go see Clark play. I want to see Evie play. I want to see Parsons and Little Blue play. So I can't hardly do that and keep my attention here. So it was time, and our fan base, I know nearly every one of them by the first name nearly, and I love them. I know when they're at our ball games and when they're not at our ball games. Just nearly everybody in that gym. So, it's time for me to get up there and do what I can do there. And I'm not going away. I'm going to still be around. I'm still going to be at some of the practices, if not all of them. And I'm going to be doing what Chris needs me to do, or the Board of Trustees needs me to do, or Dr. McPhee needs me to do. I'm going to be here to do what I can do to help Middle Tennessee take that next step. You know, I'm thinking, you know, maybe I was trying to talk Coach Mason there to put me on his staff just a minute ago. But he said, we don't need your personality with mine. So, you know, whatever.
Well, the Blue Raiders continue to play in postseason action as the Lady Raiders have another home game tomorrow night as they will take on the Vikings of Cleveland State in the third round of the WNIT. They call it the Super 16 round. Middle comes into the game with a record of 17-15. While Cleveland State is 25-9 on the year. Ticket situation is going to be exactly the same. $10. They can be purchased through the MTSU ticket office. All WNIT tickets are mobile. Fans are encouraged to purchase online in advance of game day to avoid delays entering Murphy Center. Parking will be available at the Greenland Drive lot for $5. Middle Tennessee students will receive free admission by presenting a physical student ID card at the ticket office, where they'll be issued one complimentary ticket. So the game will begin at 6:30. The doors will open for BRAA members at 5 o'clock and to the regular general public at 5:30. Blue Raider baseball non-conference game yesterday in Huntsville against Alabama A&M. The Blue Raiders picked up a 10-2 win over the Alabama A&M ball club, giving Coach Jerry Myers his 250th win as a head coach. The Blue Raiders are back at home this weekend as they'll host New Mexico State. That's it for today, folks. We'll have another update tomorrow right here on the Big G, WGNS.
It's all sports talk from the Good Neighbor Network, FM 1019, 100.5, AM 1450, WGNSradio.com, and Big G TV.
Welcome back. This is the Good Neighbor Network, and this is All Sports Talk. Dylan Simmons, joined by a very special guest, Jacob Burgess from MTSU Sidelines. What are you tee-heeing about over there?
No, just an interaction going on.
This man's got something funny going on with his phone, but I'm glad he's here with us tonight. We've had an entertaining time so far, and you know, Jacob, the semester's starting to wind down. We're getting closer towards the end, and you know, you're going to be graduating in December. You ready for that? No,
not one bit.
Not one bit.
Terrified.
Well,
very scary.
From experience, it's a big transition point. But
you did come back to grad school after 6 months.
I did come back to grad school, and that's always an option. So just keep that in mind.
I have to. We have mutual professors, of course.
Yes.
They have talked to me about grad school. They are pushing the idea, and I did tell them if I'm going to go to grad school, I'm going somewhere very nice. Like a Syracuse? A Syracuse.
A Syracuse.
I toured them for undergrad.
Okay.
And Syracuse's program, great program.
Yes. Well, they have a tremendous journalism program up there.
It's not the best program for an undergrad, because when I went up there, they told us that their newspaper is graduate students.
Just specifically grad students.
And so, like, you have to be top tier undergrad to be getting work with them. And so, but somewhere like a Syracuse, a really nice program. I don't like to say it, but UT has a really nice program.
Ooh.
I'm not a fan of that statement either. I'm not a UT fan.
Yeah, tough thing to say on this program.
I am not a UT fan.
I think I'm going to have to ban you for that, honestly. That's horrible. I'm just going to stop you right there, because we can't say...
the program. I don't like the school, I don't like the athletic program, any of that. I'm not a UT fan at all.
We are not a fan of that school in Knoxville on this show.
I do respect their journalism program, though.
Shout out to my brother, by the way, Cade Simmons, up there in UT. He's going to be the new UT Speaker of the Senate, so congratulations to him. But if you want a place with opportunities when it comes to media and journalism, come to MTSU. That's all I got to say about that. All right, let's get back on topic here. So, Jacob, the women's basketball team, MTSU, they are in the WNIT, and they've had a pretty solid amount of success so far. Of course, they got the win on Monday night against St. Bonaventure. We've referenced that a couple times on the show already. What did you make of MTSU's performance in that game?
They came out and they ran their offense. I think the biggest step up you saw was Savannah Davis.
Yeah.
She struggled as of late. Not being able to knock down shots. They started Carson Swaney over her in the final game against Missouri State in the regular season. the one Conference USA game they lost to Missouri State, who ended up going to the NCAA tournament. And they started her again against St. Bonaventure. And so she came off the bench and she just hit shots.
Yeah.
She went 4 of 7 from beyond the arc, which is one of the better shooting days she's had of late. And so she did the job they needed her to do. And you saw Elena Contreras got off to a slow start. And so, you had a guard step up and knock down shots when they needed her to. And ultimately, it helped them win the game.
Yeah. And they were able to put together a really nice second half to kind of draw themselves away from St. Bonaventure and claim a pretty dominant victory in the Murphy Center.
They started on that 11-0 run.
Yeah.
And then St. Bonnie's tied it up at 20 all. Matt mentioned it in his press conference again that
he still had that game from the night before on his mind.
He did. He mentioned it and he was talking about when they were up 11-0 and he was feeling really good. He was like, we're gonna get the coach another game together. Talking about him and Rick, they tie it up at 20 apiece, and he was like, "Oh no, it can't end this way.
No,
that would be really bad." And it didn't. They ended up winning by a good margin. They have Cleveland State next tomorrow night. I'll be honest, I have not looked at Cleveland State a lot. I do not know much about their program, but they were good enough to make it into this tournament, and they're competitive.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting test for MTSU. By the way, you can listen to that game right here on WGNS pregame at 6 o'clock coming up tomorrow right after our show here on All Sports Talk. As far as motivation goes, this team was put out of the CUSA tournament by the eventual conference champions, Missouri State, in a close game in Huntsville that was right down to the wire. Do you think that the way that part of the season ended serves as fuel, as motivation for MTSU here?
Definitely. And I think you see it with a lot of the older players.
Yeah.
Right? Players like Gracie Hamby, players like Stacy Kaepernick on the team, Emily Monson, another one to where, yes, none of the players want coach to go out that way.
Right.
But they are players who have been around the program for a long time. And their thought about it, can carry more weight. They have seen coach at some of the highest points when they upsetted Louisville. I guess not upsetted Louisville, came back and beat Louisville in the tournament. They've won conference tournaments for him before. And so they were able to push players a little more to where younger players, they know it matters, it's important, but they haven't seen Rick at the highest of highs.
Yeah.
But there are players on this team who still have, and they were able to push it to where, all out for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and those memories of that standard certainly help you when you're in those sorts of postseason situations. Now, how special do you think it is for these players to be able to play these tournament games in the Murphy Center? How big of an advantage was that on Monday, and how big of an advantage do you expect it to continue to be as this WNIT continues on?
They sold 4,000 tickets or so.
Yeah.
For the first game.
Pretty solid.
Yeah. It was a good crowd for a Monday night basketball game.
Yes.
In what is a lower tier tournament when it comes to postseason tournaments, right?
Sure.
You have the NCAA, you have WBIT, then you have the WNIT.
Yeah.
And so
still a good tournament, but yeah.
Still a good tournament. Quite. It's not the toughest competition. Yeah. And so to come out against a St. Bonaventure team that was St. Bonaventure's best season in a decade.
Yes.
The last time they made a postseason was 2016.
Whew. That's wild to think about.
Yeah. St. Bonaventure, their coach Jim Crowley, he was there from 2000 to 2016. Last time they made a postseason was the WNIT in 2016.
Yeah.
Which at the time had a little more prestige to it because the WBIT wasn't a thing yet.
Right.
He goes to Providence. He comes back. He's now in year 3, so he's been back since 2023. And he's had to turn their respective program around. And so this is a team, they beat a team that was fighting for their season also.
Right.
They had plenty of players that might have been their last game. And so they were wanting to win just as much as anybody else there. But when you have that home crowd advantage, it really does take it up a notch.
Yeah, certainly helps, especially in a postseason environment. Now, we understand who the big stars are for the Lady Raiders, but who are some of the X factors that may be flying under the radar for MTSU in this tournament that people may want to watch out for tomorrow night and potentially in the future?
I think I wouldn't call Savannah Davis and I wouldn't call her like a secondary player, but because she had the good night against St. Bonaventure, see if she can carry it over.
Right.
Yuhan Lin off of the bench. There was a play sequence the other night. She hit a pull-up 2 and then got the steal off of the inbound.
Ooh, yeah.
And I think got fouled on the next play. And to where she provides that spark. They had her playing at the point earlier in the year when they were still trying to figure out their whole guard rotation. They eventually moved her to the 2. Then she started coming off the bench, but she provides a really good spark off the bench. You don't really see many people come off the bench for MTSU. Hasn't been that way in a long time.
Yeah.
But Carson Swaney has started. We mentioned that she started in the 2. Not the most like offensive person they have. You know, double-digit night is good for her.
Sure.
10+ points, usually somewhere near that. I think she averages 7.
Yes.
7, 8 points right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so if she's able to hit, 10 points, that's a good night. She did her job offensively. You really see her pick it up on the defensive end. Is where her real presence come in. And so looking at, stats like plus minus in that case, what they're able to hold teams to while she's on the floor. And then I'm trying to think of the other person. Who am I forgetting? Kirsten Verhulst.
Verhulst, yeah, definitely.
Became the point guard kind of midway through non-conference. And another player who doesn't light up the stat sheet offensively a ton. She's in that same kind of 10-point range. But when she can knock down some threes and she can knock them down quick.
Yeah, she certainly can, and that's been one skill that a lot of these MTSU players have had as this season has gone forward. Well, last question for you. With a lot of this tournament still remaining, how do you think MTSU stacks up to some of the competition, and do they have a good shot to take home the ultimate prize in Rick Insel's final month as the head coach of the Lady Raiders?
I think they could definitely compete. When you look at some of the other teams in the field, I haven't looked at the rest of the bracket in a few days. But Southern Indiana, a team that they lost to earlier in the season's in this bracket. FIU's in the bracket. Sam Houston.
A lot of Conference USA teams.
There are some competitive teams out there. I know Wake Forest is in the bracket, or they were in the original bracket. I don't know if they've been eliminated. But, I mean, that's an ACC team right there in the bracket. And so they definitely could make a run. But, a single elimination team comes out and just, hits shots and hits them well, then any given day, it might not be your night.
Yeah, that's why executing and performing to the Rick Insel standard will be key for the Lady Raiders in the WNIT and on Thursday night against Cleveland State. Well, Jacob, thank you so much for joining us here tonight, and how about we do it again sometime?
We're going to have to coming up. Conference USA tennis. We're going to need an episode.
Yes. Oh, yeah. We'll definitely have an episode, and we may even have Jimmy Borndame in for that one. You and Jimmy here at the same time.
Me and Jimmy.
Yeah. That'd be a dynamic duo right there.
Jimmy knows of me.
Yes. He knows you. Yeah, he sees you at all the tennis matches.
Yeah, Jimmy doesn't. I do direct all of the tennis production.
Yes.
So Jimmy knows of me for sure. I will probably have to end up having